I'm Venessa Giunta. I am an author and an editor and an all-around like to talk about things person and a little awkward sometimes. But one of my favorite things to do is talk to authors, right? I love talking to authors about their process, their writing, their careers, their marketing, all those things. And I really love just sitting down and just talking about stuff. I mean, communication is my love language. So that's really what I had in mind. I really wanted a situation where I could just have a conversation with somebody. So, and a conversation and a cocktail is really all about us hanging out and drinking together and talking about the stuff. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to A Conversation and a Cocktail. And today I welcome Elle-Marie. Yeah. I'm so excited you're here with me today. So excited.
Me too. I'm excited. It's been a while.
Yes. Yes, I know. So long. All right. I see Anita's out there and Enthralled at Dusk. I think that's Ariel. I think. I can never remember all you people with your weird names. I say, as I also have weird names, so I guess I can't really say anything. Or maybe that's Erica. It might be Erica. I don't know. I keep forgetting. And I do this every time. Anyway, are you drinking tonight or are you not drinking tonight?
I'm not much of a drinker and I don't have any mead. Like I need you for the mead. You have mead. See, I need mead. You know, Vanessa introduced me to mead, just so you all know. Yes. And it was amazing. And I loved it.
Are you going to be at Dragon Con this year? I know you were at Dragon Con last year.
I'm not going to be at Dragon Con this year. That's when you're bringing your mead.
You some mead.
Just send me some mead.
Do I look like at the post office?
I need the mead. The mead was really good. I'm just saying, guys. And I'd never had mead before. And so that was my first introduction.
See what I can do. You know, that particular meadery ships.
Oh, really? Oh, why did I think you made that? Did you tell me you?
No, I don't, honey, I don't make. I'm too lazy. I don't have time for that. Tell me.
Give me the name. I'll buy some mead. I did not. I love it.
Least amount of work to get the most done, right? Least amount of work. I buy my mead because yes. So this is called Lone Star. I don't remember what's in it, but it's definitely red. It's got like cherry, I think, in it.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's actually very strong.
I don't like the strong stuff. If I can taste the alcohol, I'm not interested. That's dangerous too, though, because you can't taste it, you're drinking a lot more of it. But I enjoyed mead. That was great. That's really good.
I am known in the Atlanta area among several groups of my friend as the person who can get them hammered without them realizing they're getting hammered, because I make drinks. When I make drinks, you can't taste the alcohol because I don't like the taste of alcohol. Mm-hmm. So I make drinks that give you the nice effects of being drunk without having to taste the alcohol to get drunk. Okay, off topic, but y'all know, y'all who are around, y'all know, and Lisa knows. So started because we've got a lot to talk about because you've got your fingers in all the pies. So you really do. So I want to let everybody know that Lisa is not only an award-winning author of novels and short stories, but also an award-winning screenwriter. She writes nonfiction. She has books of essays. She also, and this I didn't know until I was, stalking you. You also narrate sometimes.
Every now and then.
All right, so let's rewind it back. So the first thing I always ask all my guests is, what was your radioactive spider bite getting into either writing or publishing? Because a lot of us, I've been writing since I was 5, right? So, okay, but like when you became, when you decided to move in a professional direction. So what's your origin story, Miss Wood?
Well, yeah, and that would have been my answer. I've been writing since I'm 5. I mean, literally. But the first published thing that I ever did was poetry, which is strange because I'm like this accidental poet, really, to be honest. I mean, I know that first book you have listed there,
Tripped and Fell,
is, I don't know where it's coming from. But so what happened was that I went to undergrad to be a filmmaker, not necessarily to write screenplays, but to be a filmmaker, because I knew that I really enjoyed entertainment and wanted to tell stories in some way. Somewhere along the line, I decided that I really should be writing screenplays, but there weren't a lot of classes for that yet. So I was like, let's just finish the degree. But then I still wanted to write something in the interim. And I had an idea for a novel, but I don't know that I was ready to sit and commit to do that. And what came out was poetry. And it was romantic poetry, which I was always a horror author. So romantic poetry kind of surprised me, like really surprised me. And the first thing that I had published was this romantic poem in like 1998.
Girl, that was a minute.
Right? Oh, yeah. And then I wrote like a ton more. So I put together, this is like legit. People who look and they say, oh, you know, the beginning of publishing really picked up in, you know, audiobooks or ebooks, or, you know, that's not true. Back in the day, just same year, I'd say 1998, I wrote so much of this poetry that I was like, let me see. And I bound this thing. There was saddle stitch, which is tape, guys. That's tape. Okay. Saddle stitched along the spine. I had this guy that I had met when I was waiting tables. He would sketch at the table, and I was like, hey, do you want to do my cover? And I pay you in pizza. And that's what I did. And I got this cover from this guy. And I sold this thing out of the trunk of my car. So I was in parking lots. I was at the corners. Like, you stop for a light, and I'm like, here's my... And I was like, okay, this can't be what I'm doing forever. It can't be. So then I decided that I better just sit down and write this novel that I knew I wanted to write in the first place. And that's how that began. But yeah, I did a whole book. This Imitation of Life is only my second poetry collection, and there's 30 years pretty much between it. Pretty much, not quite, but still, almost.
So is Imitation of Life, then, is it more along the lines of what you began writing when you were writing your prose, or is it more similar to what you did with that first poetry book?
Nothing like the first poetry book. It is Imitation of Life is dark. You know, it's dark poetry. As I mean, for me, that's the way I really want to write. I write dark things. The romance wasn't difficult in that. I think that, you know, with psychological horror, you really straddle all the lines. You sit your toes in all of the genres. So romance isn't like so out of the realm of possibility. But
I believe romance and horror are the most closely related genres.
Correct. I wrote an essay about that, actually. I call them doppelgangers in need. And it's true. I mean, they're like cousins. Yeah. But
they're the ones that are just about emotion. They're about emotion.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, please go on.
No. Imitation of Life it's dark, and it's dark from all different facets. I mean, some of it's supernatural, some of it's reality, you know, so it's dark, but it is connected more so to what I do now, which is what I've been doing since I stopped the romance poetry. I mean, you know, I dip my toe in some horror or dark romance every now and then, but I mean, I'm a psychological horror author, so it came back to what it was supposed to be.
You came back around to where you belong. So you've always been into horror. Like, do you remember, like, did you watch horror when you were young, read horror when you were young? That's what you were drawn to.
Well, and so I did start writing when I was 5. That is a real story. And I wrote something that is what we would call psychological horror. I did not know, I had no words for that, you know, and it's actually a novella. It's not short. And I was 5. Like, I literally don't know and I know that my mother and my grandmother were like, exactly what am I looking at? Right? I mean, what is this?
Like, I don't understand this at all. Our sweet little Lisa.
Right? Because it's not, I mean, it's like not, I don't know. I think if you know me, you know, you probably see it, like you see it. But if you don't know me, you don't catch that I might write this. But if you know me, you do. But if you know, it's just, so the thing that I wrote, the ending on it, I remembered it. And then I woke up. But that's purely psychological horror. So you have this whole thing And then you wake up, it was a dream. Oh, so what's the ramification of that dream? What next? And I leave you there.
Mm-hmm.
So like the fact that I was doing psychological horror and having this kind of cliffhanger and I was 5, I'm like, man, I was supposed to write this stuff. So yeah, I've always been drawn to, and I don't want it to be, what's interesting is I enjoy a good slasher movie, like Halloween's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy, a good monster movie. Not that much into kaiju, but I'm a child of the 70s. Of course, I watch Godzilla every week. Everyone did. So, but I mean, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, don't give me the beings unless it's a vampire. I'll take a vampire any day. But unless it's a being, I'm not interested in that. I want you to make me wonder what's going on. So Ira Levin's work, Stepford Wives, I watch that every chance I get. Just amazing stuff. Tilt the world a little bit so I see it on an angle and it doesn't look the same. So I don't need it to be a scary creature. I would rather it be normal life, but something is not right. It never has been.
And I think that horror also shows us, even like, it's so often our world, nothing's off. It's our world. Like there's it's not on its side or anything. It's just our world. And humans are the scariest monsters.
Absolutely.
Humans are the scariest monsters. You and I are so similar, because I don't mind a slasher movie. My favorite were the Freddy movies, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, because they're just so ridiculous, and they recognize they're ridiculous. They embrace their ridiculousness, right? And those were fun movies for me. But I'm the same. I like quiet horror. I like horror that sneaks up on you and like makes you jump out of your skin after you've thought about it.
Agreed.
Or it makes you uncomfortable being in a dark room by yourself, like 4 hours after you've finished reading the story. I feel like, and you and I have talked about this in the past, how we're so similar in that regard, I think.
Totally. Yeah, no, that for me, that's what I want. That's what keeps me interested in reading or watching. So it was only natural that that's what I write. But I have been floored that that's what I've been writing since I was 5. And then I woke up as a fantastic ending. I mean, say what you want to about it, but that something could have been and the whole thing you were engaged in was not real. That's kind of interesting. So I think, and I think that as writers, we really have to figure out exactly who we are. I'm lucky that I found that early, because some people don't.
No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Okay, so we got some comments. Anita says horror and romance are the 2 genres that cross over the most into other genres too. Agree with that. I would agree with that, because often, like, if you read a thriller, there's going to be some often horrific elements that are part of that. If you're reading a murder mystery, maybe not cozy as much, but there's still elements of suspense that are very common in horror and stuff. Yeah, I agree, Anita. And obviously, we've got a whole paranormal and supernatural thing going on in fantasy, and and I mean, Aliens is one of the Alien franchise, especially the early movies, is just epitome of sci-fi horror.
And it's quiet. It's slow. The first one, especially slow and
burn.
Quiet and ominous and and it's that build. That's what you need. That's what it is. I mean, that's what. But I agree. Thrillers are terrifying. I don't know why people think that thrillers are not. Like it's all of this. Yes, it might be a human antagonist, but that's what a slasher movie is. So let's not act like it doesn't exist. It's a terrifying concept. Someone's gonna follow you into a parking lot and take you at gunpoint, and then
or they're gonna like detonate a nuclear bomb in downtown, whatever city you live in. I mean, it's horror, man. It's horror.
I saw a movie drop. I don't want to give it away. I saw the movie drop last night. It just came out on, I think, Friday of last week.
Yeah,
it's not categorized as horror, but it's terrifying. It's exactly that.
I saw the trailer for that. I thought it looked interesting.
It is interesting.
So did you like it?
I did. I thought it was worth the watch.
Yeah, gotcha. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so you started out, you were talking about when you were an undergrad that you were actually in filmmaking. So you've been, and you said not necessarily screenwriting at that time, but film was something you've been interested in always.
It is. It is. And it's funny when I think back to like early moments of trying to figure myself out, not as a writer. I never really thought of that as a career when I was younger. Don't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't think that was something viable. So I was kind of just loose with it. But I remember being like 10 or something, and the Flip Wilson show used to come on every day. It was in syndication, and it came on television. And we didn't have, like, this is before the VCRs, folks. So I know people are like, what? No, listen, this is back in the day.
We were in front of that television. You weren't watching it. Period.
You missed it. There was no rewinding it. It was over.
Yeah, you got to wait. And if your bathroom break went longer than you anticipated, you got to wait till it comes back on rerun.
And I had figured out a trick, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to actually write out the script that I was hearing, because I didn't think I had any comedic timing. Didn't know words for that, but I was just like, how do you make something funny? And I didn't know why I wanted to make anything funny. I hadn't written anything like outside of that novella, nothing else really, but not like that at least. And so I was writing it out, and I figured out that I'm not fast enough because they keep talking, right? So I used the boom box and a recordable tape, and I recorded the audio, and that's how I was rewinding it and writing out everybody's line. And then I would read it and like say it in different voices and try to and I'm like, I get it. And so I was a kid doing that and trying to see how things bumped and how does it look on screen and what does it look. I wonder what the blooper was, because somebody clearly flubbed this line and all of these different things. And I was a kid. I didn't know I was looking at what, like, I wanted to be this person later. I just thought this was really interesting stuff. And lo and behold, it's kind of interesting to see the way things shake out.
Yeah, that was definitely foreshadowing for your life.
Absolutely.
So one of the things Joe says in the chat is, Lisa, I think Venessa would love some of our favorite Korean horror, right?
Oh,
so
man.
I watch Korean horror.
It's great. It's not being done the same way anywhere else right now. And I'm not really sure I understand what's going on, because it's not as though storytelling is storytelling, but Korean horror is top notch right now. So is Japanese horror.
What makes it now? I've seen like The Ring, like the original Japanese. I think it was Japanese. Ring.
Ringu.
Yeah, and so that was but it was years ago, obviously, because that was a long time ago. So Korean horror, they are doing it right. So what is it they're doing that is different from what you're seeing in our general, like the Western horror?
Yeah. There's a lot of films I could name, but the one that I think is probably the best one, and Joe will tell me what he thinks later, but definitely the one that is most accessible and really the most top notch in terms of what I'm going to describe is Train to Busan. It's a zombie movie that you will cry over at the end. Now, who cares about a zombie movie? No one cries about a zombie movie except this one. You feel incredibly emotional by the end of it. And the reason it's so good is that the focus is on storytelling. It's a zombie movie. Zombies are everywhere. We had how many seasons of Walking Dead? Zombies are done. We see them. We know who they are. We get it. But the storytelling element, how we see each character succumb, what we see them do for each other before this happens, the human element is, I've never seen it done better than in that movie. And I'm saying this is just one movie, but if I were trying to pick the best of the crop, I would say, and again, the most accessible. Some of these movies are really difficult to find. Like The Wailing, it was hard to find for I couldn't find it for 10 years, and finally when I did find it, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't stop looking. But A Tale of Two Sisters is one of my favorites. Like, that's just frightening. But it's the storytelling. There's so much care given to the human aspect of this event, which is what I do believe The Walking Dead wanted to do. But I think after so many seasons, you can't just at that point, it's just like, kill it or it's going to kill you. We know this, and I don't know. It's certain things. I mean, there were some moments in The Walking Dead that were extremely emotional, like Glenn's death. I thought, you just broke my heart entirely. Like, you took it, threw it on the ground and stomped on it. I was literally done. Yeah, okay. He has A Tale of Two Sisters in the chat. We're in sync there. I mean, that's
I love it.
Old Boy is good. You're right. Yeah. I mean, just the story you connect with.
Just writing all this shit down.
Well, we have a list. We have lists. But you connect with the characters and you care. And that's saying something for a zombie movie. On top of it, the way they're doing zombies is a little different than how we do the zombies, because it's like imagine when the first time we saw 28 Days, when they started running at you in that tunnel. It's that
freaked me out.
It's that, but worse. It's I've never. I literally climbed my sofa when they first started running the first time. I was like, no.
I know. I don't remember which movie it was, because I can't do zombie movies, but somebody I was dating at the time made me watch this one. But it was the one that where they run fast, and I think it was the first one that it did that. But the opening scene with the zombies, like obviously there's opening scene, but then the first time you see the zombies is a woman comes back to her house, and her little kid neighbor had gone. You know which one I'm talking about?
And then she's in the hallway at the end of the hallway, and she runs towards her in the bedroom.
Yeah, and she runs into the bedroom, and he's in the bed because he's sick, because the little kid bit him earlier, and she had locked the little kid out, and then he dies in the bed while she's trying to call 911, and she ends up having to climb out the bathroom window with her keys and get in the car, and then she gets in the car and she's driving, and he's running down the street, and he is hoofing it, and I'm like, that scared the crap out of me.
Night of the Living Dead remake, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. It was like a remake of one of the originals.
I don't think
new one, not an 80s one. It was like a 2000s one. Yeah, and it was a remake that was like totally sped up zombies, which was different from, because I feel like Mekhi Phifer's in it.
I don't remember.
Dawn of the Dead, maybe remake for Dawn of the Dead.
Maybe I don't remember, but that I can't watch zombie movies anymore. I mean, I didn't want to watch that one. And it's not that there's something specifically about zombies. They freak me out. Like I tried to watch The Walking Dead because I had a friend who was a regular zombie in the first season. I was like, I'm gonna watch this and support my friend. And so I watched and I've told this story before, but I watched the third episode, I think, is the one where they're in downtown Atlanta and they're up on the high rise, or they're up on one of the skyscrapers, and they're looking down, and there's zombies everywhere, which that didn't freak me out. But there's a tank, not a tank, but a mechanized vehicle that's down, from the army, that's been abandoned because zombies, and they've got to get to it. So two of them go down and they cover themselves in guts, which also didn't gross me out. I was okay with that. Okay. But then they had to go walk through the zombies, and it's like I kept pausing it because I'd have to, and I'd start again, and I'd watch a minute and I'd pause it. And then I was like, what are you doing to yourself? It's that. It should not be this hard. So I did watch them make it to the mechanized vehicle, and then I turned it off, and I was like, Tony, I'm sorry, I love you, but I can't do it. I can't watch it.
One of those people that were covered in guts was the guy Glenn that I was talking about, that just tore us up later, because he was a nice guy. He was the one who wanted to help everybody, and then
and he was the one who was the sheriff originally, right? Wasn't he a sheriff?
Rick. That's Rick.
Oh, okay.
Glenn was like the kid who was in town, and he was like, come over here, and he's he helps them get to that, and then the manner of his death later was just I relive it. I hate that. It was horrible. I will not watch that part again ever.
So I have a question for you about specifically about her. So I have found that in the last few years, since the world's been on fire, basically, I have a lot of trouble watching horror. I can read horror. I have a lot of trouble watching shows. There are a bunch of movies. I haven't watched Nosferatu yet, even though I want to, because I'm a huge vampire nerd, right? I've read all the old classics. I've watched all the old movies, and I am struggling with have you found do you find comfort in watching horror in times of sort of social and worldly stress, or is it harder for you? Have you noticed any kind of thing like that? No, you're like, nope.
No, I haven't because I don't watch it. I watch horror for my escapism. Horror is like I have always watched horror. So that would be for me to cut the television off. I just watch horror. It just so if I don't want to deal with anything that's happening in the world, I go watch a movie. If I don't want to, if I'm excited about something that happened, I want to celebrate with watching a movie. You know what I mean? And it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Is it that I'm not going to watch action and thriller? No. I don't care. I love movies. I am a movie fan. But if I'm going to pick my own movie, I'm going to watch a horror movie. And I'm not thinking about, it has nothing to do with anything. If that makes any sense, like I just literally am just going to watch a movie. I watch at least 3 movies a week, sometimes 5 a week.
Wow.
Let it rain on a weekend. It is like triple movie time. And I'm not.
you're like, let me get my Snuggie and some popcorn, and we are good. We are good.
And so during the unpleasantness, I had difficulty because I love going to the movie theater. So I was like, I can't get to the movie theater. This is killing me. Like this is different.
Oh no.
I had a hard time because I love the whole process. I mean, I don't know. It's what it is for me. I mean, I love it. I will go back to a movie and watch it in the theater. I used to have stacks of DVDs. Like, oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. Now everything is streaming, and I just love it. So,
excellent. That's cool. I just find for me, there are some I can probably watch. Like I'll watch Nosferatu, but I'm not in a place where I can handle that right now. But like I definitely, especially during the pandemic, I could not watch anything having to do with post-apocalyptic stuff, you know. I will say I did toward the end of its season last year, I did watch The Last of Us.
Did you? Okay.
Was really good. So it just dropped yesterday. The second season just dropped yesterday.
Oh, that's why I saw that banner. I just saw the banner and I'm like, what's going on with this? Is it coming back? No, that was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't I watched Contagion in the middle of the pandemic. And
that's what Joe just put in the chat. Joe just put in the chat. It was the #1 movie on Amazon Prime during the pandemic. I thought it was crazy too. I saw it was also the #1 movie. I'm like, y'all are gluttons for punishment. True. Y'all are literally living for this shit.
Definitely. It was weird. And what's funny is I had written a book called Telecommuting, a novella, and it came out maybe everything had happened, but it was like a couple of days. I mean, really, it was right on and it looked like I was like totally prophetic. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't know this. I didn't know we'd all be telecommuting.
You know who was prophetic though was Olivia Butler.
Oh, tell me about it, man.
I mean, have you read
about us writers? I really do.
Oh my God. That woman, she knew what was coming because like I was reading that. I read that in 2023, I think. And I had never read it before. I'd read like Kindred and a couple other her books, but I never read that one. And I was listening to it on audiobook and it's like, I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
This is literally what's happening.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
That like water is not yet such a scarcity as it was in there, but everything else, on point.
Yeah. Oh, it's creepy. But I think that I watched Contagion, and I definitely was like, I noticed that I was watching Contagion. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, we're doing this. Okay.
Okay, here we go. Let's do it.
Right. I wouldn't let anybody else watch it with me because I'm like, I'm not going to be the person who makes you cry your eyes out later because you watch this and we're living it. But I'm watching it. And I watched and I thought, that's terrifying. And I really hope that's not how this goes. You know what I mean? I definitely was just like, this is what it is. But I mean, I don't know. I'll watch religious horror on Easter. I will do all sorts of strange.
You're so perverted in that way.
It's really weird when you think about it.
The most expensive thing I can watch on this religious holiday. Let's do that.
But I'll tell you, the worst movie I think I've ever seen, it is not a horror, was The Passion of the Christ. Like I cried for 2 hours in the theater. I've never cried all through a movie. Like you cry, you know, sometimes. But I was like wet face, like just, and the movie ended and nobody made any sound. And I had been gasping for air for an hour. And I'm just like, I can't.
You're like, where's my oxygen mask, man?
Right?
Why don't we have those things dropping?
I'm like, nobody can ever tell me that horror is horrible and it's the worst thing ever. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And it was, maybe it's because it was like, does it matter? I don't think it even matters what religious connection someone might have or no religious connection. The torture that in this movie that went on was just,
yeah.
You know, and that's one thing I don't like. I don't like torture movies. I can't do torture. I mean, and I don't mean Audition. Audition's boy, I think it's Japanese. That's Japanese horror, Audition. But Joe and I love Audition, first of all. We have talked about that many times. That's one of the best movies ever. But that's different. There was some movie I saw, and I can't name it, and I think my mind is trying to protect me from never watching it again, so it doesn't give me the title. But it was this woman got strung up by one leg. It's Japanese horror, and was about to be tortured, and I cut it off before it happened. I was just like, nope. I was like, I can't.
It's not gonna live in my brain.
Nope, not at all. So we all have something we're not gonna look at. I'm not gonna look at torture. I'm not looking at. I saw something once, and I thought, well, I don't know how I finished that. Oh no, but I've seen Hostel. That's the thing about it. Let me make the comment here. Hostel wasn't as bad as what I'm talking about. Do I want to watch Hostel again? No. But no, it's not as bad as, maybe it's less realistic, like the Saw movies. You know what I mean? I think the puzzles are ingenious. They're kind of unique. I've had enough of Saw, but the first one is actually an excellent movie. And the rest of, move into something that's different from the psychological piece that they were doing in the beginning. But it's more of the realistic, sadistic sort of torture that I just can't deal with, because it feels like people are like that, and I don't want to encounter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
I mean,
actually, I don't think I liked it. I don't know what I thought. I was just like, what's happening?
So I watch the horror that I watch are like true crime serial killer.
I won't watch that because they really did that.
I can watch the shit out of those. I have watched so many, like, I know the serial kill. I know United States serial killers. Like, I may not know all their names, but if you start describing something to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy who was in St. Louis and he did this and this and this. Yeah.
I can't.
Because like, that's my thing. And that's weird because like I'll watch, like I literally will binge watch like 3 seasons of, Life of a Serial Killer or whatever. I'm just making that up. Right. But I haven't watched Nosferatu yet.
Yeah, well, it's graphic. It's graphic. It is graphic. I'm not going to say that it's not. Yeah. And there's some male, female
weirdness,
strangeness happening. Nosferatu, this version of it, I was not a fan of, but I mean, I tried. I've watched it now 4 times, and So but yeah, I know the big ones, and I don't understand like how this could happen. You know what I mean? And so because I don't get it, and I know these people were real life people, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I can't.
For me, it's the psychological piece that fascinates me, because like I also watch things like Mindhunter, and like I read about the whole thing about like Criminal Minds, which was centered on the FBI's behavioral analysis unit. Like that's what I find it fascinating, because, and I think that is also sort of my draw to horror, because even though like I'll watch a slasher movie, it's fine. That's not what fascinates me. What fascinates me is the psychological piece. And I think where I get that isn't as much from films as it is from shit that happens in real life, which is terrifying, right? And Anita said that she's currently reading an excellent book about Ed Gein. Yes. And also earlier, Ariel agreed with you about she loves Old Boy, and horror is always the first option from when you were talking about, when you're watching a show. Yes, exactly. Joe says, I was not either. I loved the look of it as a movie. It was amazing to see, but the story version of this one was not great. I thought the studio tempered it too much, and Defoe drove me crazy with his performance.
Like literally what? Oh. I normally don't. Here's the issue. I don't think I like the not the Renfield character. I'm sorry, the Van Helsing character in any iteration in the Nosferatu version, because you know it's a knockoff from Dracula. We all know this, right? So
yes,
whatever. I don't like the character that's similar to Van Helsing in Nosferatu. I don't like Van Helsing at all. I think Anthony Hopkins' performance in the Bram Stoker one was just. I wanted him to stop it, right? But I did not like Nosferatu, the guy, whatever that I didn't like. I don't want to give anything away, but there's a thing that this character's doing that I was just like,
okay, now
it made me so angry
because I'm gonna have to be like, okay, what's the spot that Lisa's
you can't miss it. When it happens, it happens all throughout the movie.
Okay,
you literally can't.
Clearly, I'm gonna have to watch that later this week.
You literally. No, and it made me angry. All 4 movies, I was like livid by the time. I'm just like, this is so. It's whatever, but you know, I like the creativity. I like that somebody did it again. I thought it was a beautiful movie. It looked gorgeous. It was pretty, right? But
you didn't like the story, yeah. Oh,
Eggers is a beautiful director. I feel like if this character the line I want to give you is going to give it all away. I cannot say it. I can't say it.
Okay. Well, let's circle back. We'll get you back on the show after I've watched it, and then we'll do an update.
Yes.
That's hilarious. Eggers is a beautiful director, but I point to The Witch and The Lighthouse over this one. Is The Lighthouse the black and white one that he did with, I think, Pierce Brosnan, maybe? No.
Oh, no, I
don't remember. I remember seeing it, but I remember not really being interested in watching it because it just seemed a little too pretentious.
Well, at least it's black and white. I can tell you that much. I don't know if Pierce Brosnan's in it, but
Pattinson and Defoe. It must be Defoe that I'm thinking of. And Liam says, yes, Ferratu. Oh my gosh, Liam, I'm so glad you're here.
No, I'm sticking to no, Nosferatu.
So, you know, it's interesting because, like, I think about the Van Helsing character going back to, like, it's so interesting because it's, like, to me, it feels very much like, okay, I'm going to get heavy, y'all, like imperialism. Like, the white guy is going to come and save everyone from this, you know, Eastern European Slavic monster, you know, and it's white, you know, like Western civilization will bring them under control.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that you're wrong. I don't know that you're wrong. I think that could be it because, you know, I don't think you're wrong, to be honest. I don't. But I can abide it better in the Bram Stoker character, probably a movie, because it was more developed. I mean, it was more developed. But yeah, even in that movie, there's the whole whatever house that he gets to, that Jonathan Harker gets to before he's picked up. They're just that hotel. It's poor. It's, you know, people, traders are there, and then there's a whole bunch of the religion stuff, and then there's a separation between religion and you know, and not so much religion, but just the symbolism to try and protect you from. You know, and then you get there, and then that's gone. The religion is gone, and you see in the very beginning of the movie, which is an excellent scene, when he stabs the cross. He's like, the blood pours out of it. You know, that's, you know, it's just it's us or them, and it's always us or them, and usually us or them has everything to do with caste and money and upbringing, and it's always that. So I don't think you're wrong at all.
Yeah. And okay, so I'm gonna be, oh no, Liam. Yeah, and Joe, I was just gonna say this, that I'm going to share a dirty little secret. I don't like the Dracula book. I don't like the book.
This meeting's over.
We're done. We're never gonna be friends again. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the concept. Like I love vampire lore. I love that. I didn't like the book for a number of reasons. One of it was I don't like epistolary stories. I don't mind having letters as part of the story, but I do not like an entire story done in letters. And that's a personal preference, and I recognize that. But like, and I also like the reasons I don't like it, it has to do with very much who it was written by and how and when it was written, right? So it was very, you know what I mean? There's a lot of misogyny in it, and the women are all wilting flowers, and they're accessories to the men, and so I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I can't blame you. I can't blame you. I mean, it's I didn't know what I thought about epistolary novels until I read that, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know that I would love it forever, but I think it's a unique. I'm all about try something new. If you're an author, do something different. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think that was a great attempt. But I love, the book itself is not a favorite, but it's good to me. The movie is one of my favorites. And I mean, Bram Stoker's Dracula in '96.
Yeah, the story itself, I don't have a problem with. I really, but I don't. But those are the things I don't like about it. But again, I'm a huge vampire nerd. So like Carmilla was my Carmilla. Come on,
and if you don't know that vampire
stories,
it is worth reading. It's wonderful, and it's not. And even then, I was surprised at who wrote that and didn't mess it up. I'm not saying that the other work is bad. I'm just saying it was curious because of what the topic. I don't know if we can give it away, but I was surprised that they were able to pull that off.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's always a very good chance that there was someone in their life that
could have been
was a big part of that.
But also that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, frankly. But drugs and what? Wait, there was opium. Wasn't Jonathan Harker like on opium when he was down there with the vampire women? I think he was. So there's some drugs in it.
And he was like, do not recommend.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. It's hard to. And we have better options now. We can do text. We can do like newspaper clippings. There's a book that was doing that really well. What was that? It's a murder mystery. What was the name of that book?
I like that as part of the story. I like having letters or newspaper clippings or even internet chats or something like that as part of the story, maybe, separate. I actually just edited, I did a freelance edit that is a murder mystery, and every 3 or 4 or 5 chapters, there's a piece that is a page from the Red Journal, which was the serial killer's journal or whatever. Joe wants to know what you think of Gone Girl.
I enjoyed that. The book I was trying to figure out is Night Film, and it's not the entire. It's like it's just interspersed. But like, look at that whole ad in the middle of this book. It's like pretty interesting. So yeah, there are just different ways to do epistolary now. It doesn't have to be letters only. But I like Gone Girl, but I like the book. The movie I thought was okay, but I really enjoyed the book.
Nice.
I have not watched or read Let the Right One In. It's sitting right over here, and I'm just like, am I going to get to that book at all? It's right there.
It's right there, just waiting, calling your name. Maybe this will inspire you. Yes, I saw the movie on one of the streaming services, and I was like, oh, and I put it in my stuff for when I'm like, okay, when I'm ready to start watching horror again, this is what I want to watch, but I haven't watched it yet. Clearly.
Listen, you may like it because it's like one of those realistic type of things. Like it could actually happen to somebody. I don't know why I can't. I think for me, the writing and the viewing needs to be escapism, and I'm not really escaping if I'm actually frightened, like literally like frightened. Like, although that's not true because some of that Korean horror, and then there's one Japanese horror movie that absolutely terrifies me. I don't revisit it often because I'm honestly afraid of it, and I just don't. But the journey to being that afraid was magnificent, to be honest. But it also can't happen.
The journey made the fear okay.
Right. I'm being clear. I hope to God that can't happen. But that was different. It's not like even serial killers, if you are in the wrong spot at the wrong time and you run out of gas and you knock on somebody's door, I mean, man, we have cell phones now.
Number one, never gonna do that.
See what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that to be something that's happening. That could be the moment that I come upon somebody's lair, and I don't want to see your lair.
Yeah. But like and I find that like H.H. Holmes, who did you know, he's the guy from the Chicago World's Fair in the 1920s, and like I find him incredibly fascinating, in part because his legend is so big, and he was such a fucking two-bit con man. He was so not like this, you know, what he does. His life does not live up to his legend. You know what I mean? He's just, and I also find that fascinating.
Yeah. This is the guy from, there's a American Horror Story season about him, right? The hotel one with Lady Gaga.
The hotel one. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of amazing, though. Like, that's kind of amazing.
I love those first seasons of American Horror Story. And that season, the hotel, the opening of that reminded me so much of The Hunger. Like it mirrored The Hunger. If you've seen, I don't know if you've seen The Hunger or not, with David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve. Oh, girl, that was so good.
Really?
But yeah, like the opening scene is this very moody, they're playing Bauhaus music and it's very moody, and they're in this nightclub, and David Bowie is standing and Catherine Deneuve is sitting, and she looks radiant and he looks like David Bowie. And they find a couple, and these are like these two ratty motorcycle, you know, couple to take back with them, to take back to their room with them. Right. And of course they drink their blood and stuff. But like the opening of Hotel with Lady Gaga and whoever the guy was, I don't remember. It was definitely an homage to The Hunger. So
I'll tell you what season bugged me about that one. Often I like the beginning. I don't know. We get down to the second half of the season. I'm just like, let's end it well.
Taking too long.
You know, but there's a season that tore me up, and I made the mistake of watching all the way to the end. And I mean, I don't want to cry when I'm watching my horror stuff. I don't. It was the New York one. The one, what was that?
What was the
Horror Story? I'm just going to put New York in here and see what comes up.
It
was NYC. It was NYC. Season 10.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I had stopped watching by that point. I had trouble. There was one season. Didn't they do a season about spiders or something?
Yes, but honestly, that was the cover. It wasn't the show. I was surprised. I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to see these spiders, but that wasn't the show, and that was weird that it wasn't the show. Yeah. But I did see there was a season called it's not Coven, it's the one with
there was one I really loved, and I think it might have been Coven that I really, really liked a lot. I don't remember. Let me see if I can
which one was the one with Cuba Gooding in it?
Oh, he's so good.
This season was great. What was that season? Roanoke. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I think that was the one I really liked. Yes, I think that's right. Let me see if I've got video series.
But that, you know,
it was Asylum. It was Asylum.
Asylum.
Oh my God.
I feel like that show, I always wanted it to be more than it ended up being. Like, it seems like it's like going to be really scary, and then it's not as scary as you thought, and then some of the stuff that they're trying to present, like, I never really understood what the leather person was supposed to, the person wearing leather, like, why is he in everything? Like, at some point he stopped being in it, but I'm like, how is it the same guy, or is this the same fetish? We keep talking about the same fetish, like, really? I was just like, somebody needs to explore why this fetish keeps coming up. Because it's in everything.
Somebody in the writer's room definitely has a fetish.
And I'm just like, I'm here for it if we're gonna do something with this and it makes sense. But every time, like, it can't be at every time. So I just felt like I don't know, sometimes they lose their way, which is unfortunate because the ideas are amazing. But Roanoke, man, woo, all the way through.
Yeah, that was really, really good. Wasn't that their tribute to Zodiac?
That was NYC, I think. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't watch that one because I was already kind of out of it at that point. There was one of them. I don't remember which one that I started watching, but I didn't like it. The Letterman, I mean.
I don't know what the leather. Oh, is he? Is it? Is it? I don't know. Well, and if that's the case, I missed it, right? I mean, I missed that entirely. Maybe I need to wonder why I missed it. I don't know. I missed that.
That's interesting, though. That's interesting. I feel like there's so much stuff in real life that we draw from. Like, do you find that in your own horror, that where do you draw your ideas from for your own horror that you write?
Life anywhere. I mean, being outside. I'm a big fan of people watching. You know, I don't want that to sound like I stare at people, but sometimes. You know, I listen and I
like that. That's what I do.
Right? I mean,
I'm not creepy. I'm just a horror writer. It'll be fine.
Right? I mean, I feel like because of the type of horror that I write, it's everywhere. Anything could be this conversation could be it. I mean, I actually have not that any ideas specifically from the chat, but I'm getting the comments late and then they'll show up here and I'm like, I like this connection. I wonder what I'm going to do with that. I'll do something with it because it's something that you see that just kind of sparks your interest. So for me, it's anything and everything. I walked out of the Target once and I just go in my car and I was like, and what if something came out of the ground right here? I went home and wrote a story about it.
Dang, nice.
It's just it's what it is.
As someone who does not get story ideas easily, like I don't. I for ages, and I've talked about this recently too, I think during one of my Twitch streams, that for ages I really struggled with accepting and believing that I'm a writer, because even though like nobody knew that, it's not like I was like, oh, I'm not a writer, but I didn't feel like I was like other writers. It's probably more accurate because everybody I know and all of the stuff that you would see, oh, where do you get your ideas? I get them from everywhere. Whatever. And that's not how it works for me. I have to fight for my ideas. Like my ideas do not come easily. Like I just did a couple NYC Midnight contests, short story contests. And like the first one, we had 10 days to write a 2,500 word story. We got our prompt. I didn't start writing it until day 7 because it took me a week to figure out what the hell I was going to write. And then the second round, because my first story made it to the second round. So the second round, I got my prompt. We had 3 days. I didn't start writing till the last day because it took all that time to get an idea. And so as a person who struggles with that, when I ask that question, I'm looking for things that I can, she does this. Okay, so I'm going to try to do that and see if that helps, right? So thank you for your... I finally felt validated at DragonCon a few years ago when Patricia Briggs said that she's the same way. She does not get right. She was like, the question was, who do you bounce your ideas off of? And people, it was a New York Times bestseller panel. And, everybody's like, oh, my agent, oh, my spouse, oh, whatever, my kid, whatever. And she's like, I don't bounce it off anybody. She said, because I don't get them often. I'm not one of these writers that goes to the grocery store and gets 10 ideas and then gets 15 more on the way home. She said, when I get an idea, I keep it to myself. I work it until I have a story. And I was just like, I feel so seen.
Yeah. No, and everybody has their own, that's important to know. And I will tell you this, I'll get the idea. If it's a short story, it's easy. The novels are not the ideas for the novels are not difficult. It's it used to be that I couldn't get past 5,000 words. And I'd get to the 5,000 and be like, and that's that. I mean, I don't know what happens here. And that is hard. And so what does work for me is I get in the shower and I get my head just clears. And I'm like, okay, and I'm going to get down and do this. Doesn't mean that day I got in the shower and I fixed it. So there is a moment. At some point I'll be in the shower and I'll fix it. But there is that moment where it's like I because one thing I can say is that writing itself is not difficult. I enjoy the writing. It's as though my fingers are doing it and I'm not actually just involved. I'm kind of reading it like, oh, that's cool, because my fingers did it, right? So I love that. But that's only after that one 5,000 word marker when I finally can get it together. And what used to be is that, when I was younger and didn't have any responsibilities, I could write the thing, get to the $5,000 word marker, overcome it in a week, and then finish the novel in a month. So a month and a half, 2 months, I've finished it. This new novel I've been working on, I can't even I hit this stupid spot at 3,000 words.
And, oh no!
Right? I haven't even hit 5,000 words. I have been trying to write this mug since December, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god! And I'm like, okay, just calm down. But there've been many days.
So you are incredibly busy.
I am. But there've been days I've been in the shower, just in the shower, looking up at the water, like, come on. What is happening?
Where is my muse? Your muse went to Tahiti. They're done with showers. They're on the beach now.
Oh God.
With my muse. They're hanging out on the beach together. Get those bitches back there.
Yeah, I just am like, come on. And so it's not like but the short story stuff has always just been, I don't know why that is, but I do know why. Actually, now that I think about it, I start my action in the middle. Once I found out that you could do that, I don't think I've ever done anything differently. So it's like happening right now, and then it's over. And for me, that's a short idea. So the idea of what if something came out of the ground? Well, all I did was walk out of Target. So I had to explain shopping for, I don't know, 3 paragraphs and then come out and the world is blowing up. That was great. And it was easy because that is a what if for me. Like, what if all of a sudden gravity stops? So what if? I don't know. So let's and so you can do that. For me, at least, I can do that quickly. The novel, which requires all of your, and I'm a pantser, so I'm not planning it out. I'm just sitting here waiting on the doggone thing to happen. And it's difficult when you're in that moment, because what will happen for me is once I get past, I assume now 3,000 words. Maybe that's my new spot. Once I get past it and I figure it out, I will finish that book in a month, 2 months. Well, as long as I can get the time to myself. My God. But to do that.
Yes.
Oh, yes. This has been a heck of a year, but it's whatever.
So
what I've learned is, in essence, is to not beat myself up, because I did hit the 3,000 mark, and I'm like, and what are we doing? Let's go. I can't beat myself up, and I also can't, as a pantser, I can't force myself to write. That's not how I do it. So
yeah, and I'm the same way. I've been struggling since 2020, since my house was demolished the first time. I've been struggling since then, and it's like you said, you've got to forgive yourself, because otherwise the guilt and the anger and the frustration is just going to make it worse, right? It's just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So Joe brings up, and I wanted to touch on this tonight too, the way somebody who never got the privilege of being on a horror panel or in the horror track during Multiverse. This is how every panel I was on and in with Lisa in charge was like. It was one of my favorite experiences.
It was organized
Lisa was the original director of the horror track for the first 5 years of Multiverse. And she, let me tell you, when she set that bar real high, it was so much fun. I was so sad. She was awful, though, y'all. She waited till the end of Multiverse to tell me. I didn't even get any warning before the show at all. And it was her and another director at the same time in the hallway, like, oh, by the way, Venessa. I was like, really? You couldn't have given me some heads up? You wait till the end of a great weekend. Well, it wasn't a great weekend. It was a very frustrating weekend.
It was very stressful. Yes.
Yes.
I will tell you that I hate that it had to happen. I hate that it happened, but I also I had such a blast. Like those 5 years were so amazing. And I left on a high, and that was important to me. Like I didn't want to have a year where I just couldn't get myself together at all.
I wasn't blaming you at all. Like I
didn't want to say it before, because I didn't want us to be sad. I wanted us just to have our fun and do our things so we could enjoy ourselves. But I'd
had way more fun with you that weekend had I known it was going to be my last Multiverse with you. You and I would have thrown down, man. Yeah. So
it was something, but I'm gonna tell you, I honestly, I miss it. I loved what we did. It was great.
You'll come
We had
back.
so many great conversations. It was like really
You'll
amazing.
come back. Wait till you see the new hotel. Wait till you come back and see the new hotel, girl.
Oh wow. The other one was just far out
gonna,
there. It was really out there.
Yeah, well, it's the airport. So it's if you like if somebody's flying in,
yeah,
it's the same distance. It's the same distance as except you don't have to go through Atlanta. You go south. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's awesome, and you're gonna be all impressed because we moved Monster Mash into a room that has actual walls instead of bare walls, so we could be as loud as we wanted.
That's wonderful. That was always a challenge because we were a little rowdy in there.
So rowdy. That was the first thing. I was like, okay, we're going to move this to a room with walls so that the other tracks who are there can act, because horror is in the middle now. No, horror's on the end. So, so that they can have their stuff. Yeah. And soundproofing. Okay. So, yeah, so I didn't get to hardly any of my other questions, but I knew that would happen because you and I, this is how we are.
We don't really know how to do an interview.
I know we don't. But this isn't an interview show; it's a conversation show, which is exactly what we do. Yeah. Yes, we always do this when you and I get going, and we can do this for like hours. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. But we are at the top of the hour, which means. It's very sad. We're going to have to say goodbye.
Oh, but you should bring me back on after you see Nosferatu. Then we can really talk.
Yes. Yes. That was a special episode, a special breaking news episode. Vanessa has watched it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. 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 Okay. I will see. I will watch it. I'm going to have to watch it probably this week. We'll see how it goes. So, yes. So I just want to thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I want to thank, oh, wait, I do have to highlight James's post. Pants for women, but only in writing.
I missed it. Pants for the women. Listen, y'all don't know what I'm wearing under here.
Yeah,
my shirt is
not wearing pants.
Pants are. That was the wonderful thing about the unpleasant moments because we didn't. Nobody had. I mean, you were covered, but those were pajama pants, folks. And I don't know that I'm always not in. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. For what? You can't see. No one can see. You just have to remember not to stand up.
Yes, that's the part. Although I wear yoga pants, but I wear them to bed, like not during the summer because it gets hot as fuck down here. But like I wear them to bed. I wear them around the house. I'll wear them if I'm going out to like the grocery store. If I'm going to someplace I care about, I'll wear my, But like I wear yoga pants all the time. So I wear pajama pants all multiverse last year in tribute to Lisa. There were tributes to you everywhere.
I love that. I love that.
Yes. All right. So thank you so much for being here. This was so lovely to catch up with you. I love you so much.
I love you too. It was great.
You know what? Hang on. We're going to take 5 more minutes because we didn't even talk about your new release. Damn it.
Right. Oh my gosh. Right.
Okay, y'all. 5 or 10 more minutes. Okay, tell us about your new release.
Well, okay then. So you have 2 of the cover. The other one is. I tried to move and show you something. That's ridiculous. The other one is you can't see it. It's not going to be close enough. There's a 4th one that looks similar to the Tales of Time, but it's red. This is this universe I've created called the Open Book Universe, and here's the cool thing about it. So. Let me get this right because it's confusing, but I want to say it right. So the people who are being talked about in the open book are reading the short story collection that's the red one called The Tales of Time. If they finish a story in The Tales of Time, bad things happen to them. But the stories that don't seem to hurt people, at least not right away, are in the green one you have there called The Tales of Time, The Lost Stories.
Oh.
One person reads and finishes stories in the red one, The Tales of Time, and he ends up having this fever dream and writes the poetry collection, Imitation of Life. There it is. Yeah. Perfect. Yep. Yes. And like what I found interesting is I didn't call it this, but it's being called this meta collection. And I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that. I just wanted, again, that kind of goes back to what we talked about before about try something, see what happens, dip your toe into something new. I write novels, I write the screenplays, I can write the poetry, I can write short story collections. What happens if I tie the thing together, you know, like visually, like an anthology series, as we're used to seeing, like with Creepshow and stuff like that? What happens if I do that in writing? So I tried it.
I love that. Okay, I'm gonna be going out and buying all of them.
Thank you.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm going to do. All right. Thank you for sharing that, because I'm just like, okay, we're going to wrap it up. Wait. Where we're going to talk about.
Joe said exactly what it's like. Everywhere. What's the name of that movie? Everywhere, all of at once. That movie, first of all, is fantastic. And it's exactly like that. It's exactly like that.
I love that. Oh, I'm so excited to read it. I'm so excited to read it. So are you going to be at any live events coming up soon? I know you said you're not going to be at Dragon Con, but where are you going to be?
I'm not going to be at Dragon Con this year, but I wish I could have pulled that together. It's just not happening. I'll be at Stoker Con this year, which is June 11th, June 12th.
Where is it this year?
It is, I better figure that out, huh? Stamford, Connecticut. I'm going, so I better sort that out. I'll be there. And pardon me, I'm looking to see what's the next one. I'll be doing a signing in Brooklyn. It's called Brooklyn Read and Sign, something like that. Sip and Sign, something like that. I'll be up that way, so I'll just do that. I'll do that on Tuesday, the 17th of June. And then I'll be at Imaginarium in July in Kentucky.
Yay!
First time I've ever been to that con, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've heard that that's a really good one. I know a bunch of people who go to that one. So yay, awesome.
Looking forward to it. Oh, I'm also guest of honor at C3, which Crimes, Crooks, and Creatures. And that's going to be in Maryland. Yeah, that's September.
That is awesome. You're a guest of honor. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so honored that people even think I have enough to say to be guest of honor. I think that's so
I mean, girl, you do have enough to say. You really, really do. You are a powerhouse for real.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here with us. Thank everybody in the chat for hanging out and supporting us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all the things. And thank you to Joe for doing all of the back end stuff, because I refuse to learn how to do that because I don't want to. And I'm doing what is it? Weaponized incompetence. That's what it is.
Oh, gosh.
Because I don't want to do it. So Joe always does it for me because he's sweet. So anyway, thank you again. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Stay tuned into the Go Indie Now Network. Subscribe, because we have lots of cool shows. We have a new show with Anita called Trope or Not Trope. Is it that what it is? Trope or not to trope. And it's kind of like Monster Mash. It's they pick a trope, and then the guest decides what their stance is on the trope, and Anita will take the opposite stance, and then they fight with each other.
Oh, I like it.
Yes. Nice. Right? So, Anita, you should connect with Lisa and get her on there for some horror tropes.
That would be fun.
I'm just dragging this out. I'm just like stalling because I don't want to go, but we have to go. So, as all of you already know, it is always time to go indie now.